choosing vocal effects, to me, that's the most crucial thing because that sets the mood and vibe of your mix. Does it draw you in? Is it too much? Is it not enough? Like, what do we got here? So first one, so I do this sometimes if I want to set like an intimate vibe. This is just a real short verb and it just gives it a bit of space.
As long as there are stars above you.
The non-lin 2 I go for when I want something that doesn't sound like reverb, but puts her in a space or just makes her sound just a little bit bigger.
As long as there are stars above you.
Okay, next one I'm going to look at is the UAD capital chambers. I think I've got a long chamber dialed up on this.
As long as there are stars above you.
That's a totally different vibe with that big chamber than that AMS RMX. The combination of the two might be pretty sweet though.
I may not always love you, but long as there are stars above.
It's kind of nice because it gives it that initial impact and that initial presence, makes it sound a little bit bigger, but then it also has this carry to it that's really nice. Valhalla.
As long as there are stars above you.
The Valhalla vintage verb carries so nicely. The first reverb that you instantiate with is almost always the one almost everybody uses. That's the one I almost always use. And it's just got this beautiful carry to it. Most halls, you can't really hear the vocal carry into the distance, but the Valhalla kind of does. It's got plate qualities almost.
I may not always love you, but long as there are stars above you.
Here's a completely different approach. Delay.
I may not always love you, but long as there are stars above you.
If you notice that delay bouncing around, I've got a ping pong delay, eighth notes. Dun, 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 dun. Listen to the sibilants bouncing.
I may not always love you.
Especially in headphones, that's wildly distracting. And it really takes your focus off of the lead vocal. So usually with a delay, I will roll off the top end, usually down to 3 to 1K. Now let's see what 2K sounds like.
I may not always love you, but long as there are stars above you.
Hear how that puts it in a mood and just smooths out that, all of those sibilances aren't bouncing around. You don't really perceive it as much as delay, but it does what it's supposed to do and helps you just set a mood.
But long as there are stars above you.
So here's the difference between a ping pong and a mono.
I may not always love you, but long as there are stars above you.
If delay works for your song, figure out if you want a mono or stereo delay or if you want a ping pong delay. Next, a little bit of spreading. Greenhouse. This is a saturator, spreader, modulator, but really it's a vibe box.
As long as there are stars above you.
I love this vibe for the song because it keeps it intimate. It does something to the vocal. It puts it in a space and a mood. And this is kind of almost a slap delay. I've got the longest left timer and the second longest right timer. If I bring it way up, you can hear the slap.
I may not always love you, but long as there are.
But the way that this not only spreads out and kind of gives it depth, but gives it a little bit of chorusing as well is, man, a game changer to me. And the other really cool thing with Greenhouse is the way it instantiates is like this, and this is more of a chorus, you'll hear it.
I may not always love you, but long as there are stars
So those are the two ways I use. Now, if you're going to use greenhouse on an aux, make sure that the watering can is fully wet. If you're going to use it on a channel on insert, then the watering can is your wet-dry balance between effect and non-effect. So I have it on an aux right now, so the wet stays all the way wet. But if it was on a channel, I'd probably get a similar effect about right there on a vocal, maybe there. And then something a little more severe, MXR flanger.
I may not always love you.
Okay, flanging. Here's one of the keys to the flanger. A flanger works by blending the dry signal against the affected signal. So if you don't have a dry signal, then the affected signal doesn't do as much flanging. So my dry signal is on the channel, and I'm feeding 100% wet into this because it's on an aux again. If this was on my channel, my mix would probably be somewhere around there. This would be a little bit more severe, but you want that blend between dry and wet on a flanger. Width on a flanger is how wide the frequency sweep is. So a narrow width, it would go from like, I don't know, 600 to 4K. A wide width, it would go from 100 hertz to 10K or 15K. Speed is how rapidly it makes that transit. There you go.
I may not always love you.
And then you get more severe flanging with regeneration.
I may not always love you, but long as there are stars above you.
There we go. Choosing some lead vocal effects.